Hey there, this is Shore, and welcome to the Stardust Speedway tutorial for the Sonic City 90% Glitch speedrun. So, as per usual, I'm just going to go through all acts in order, and yeah, let's get started. So, in Stardust 1, you want to charge a full pilote. Let me make the game a little quieter. You want to charge a full pilote here, and make sure to not press any directions, so it's a neutral pilote here. And the reason we do this is because sometimes if you like press right somewhere, you can get something like this where Sonic runs up here instead of going down that slope, which we don't want because that kind of ruins the entire route. So to prevent this, we just oops, let me get it. We just do a neutral pilote here and hold nothing. Once you get on the slope, you can roll for like a little burst of speed. And here you have two options. So you can do a jump at the very edge of this platform here, which is a little bit faster, it's probably a little bit faster. Um, and alternatively, you can run up to this spring here and do a speed cap jump. Make sure you hold right. If you do the speed cap jump, make sure you hold right until you're on this slope and only then roll. Because if you roll too early, you'll lose the time travel here, which is important. So make sure to roll once you're on the slope. Also for the jump from here, it's very important that you don't jump too early because if you do, that might be a bad example. Like, let's say you jump here, or say you jump like here, you can clip through the ground like that, or actually you're not really clipping through, it's just you don't have the path swap to be on this section of the ground. So jump later so you land kind of on this section of the ground. But anyways, once you get past the spring, regardless of which method you use, you want to do a roll jump here. And once you land, you want to do a, you want to wait until this enemy is killed by Sonic, and then do a full jump into the ceiling. Now, if you're doing this jump, keep in mind that after this jump, Sonic will kind of look like he goes down into that hole, but he's not actually going to end up going down there because once Sonic kind of turns invisible during a time travel for a few frames, all the movement that he does after that does not actually count and does not take effect after the time travel. So you'll be completely fine and you will never actually fall down in there. But anyways, regardless of which method you do, you'll always end up here and you want to run to the right, so hold right here. And I'm waiting until Sonic is kind of like in between these berries, maybe a little bit before, depending where you want to jump. But you want to do a speed cap tap jump here. Ideally, as small as possible, ideally like a 1 frame jump, but if you jump earlier, a bigger jump also works. And Sonic will hit the spring, so now you want to wait until Sonic touches the ground here and hold down. After this, wait until Sonic hits the booster, and when he's kind of around this position, like kind of before this berry here, maybe still in the booster, you want to hold right, and Sonic will go up this slope. Stardust Speedway, or at least Stardust Speedway Act 1 has the reputation of being one of the most subpixely levels in the entire game, and basically all that is to manipulate your subpixels to go up this slope here, because if you don't do that, there's a variety of things that can happen. You can get something like this where Sonic kind of like clips into this wall, or you can get something like this where even though you're holding right, Sonic just flies upwards, and neither of these things are something you want. So going back a bit to repeat, I guess, let me go back. So once again, you are tap jumping here onto the spring, you wait until Sonic lands, you hold down, and you hold right to go up this slope. This is something you just get a feel for eventually, and it's probably the most consistent method of doing this. However, this is not 100% consistent, don't get it twisted. Nothing in this level is for sure. Anything can happen, and you just have to be ready for it. So if you do get subpixel like this, where Sonic like gets stuck in here, this is due to path swapping. So if this does happen, you're all okay. You just are gonna lose a bit of time. Perform a P-load on this ground here and run to the left, and then just jump off of this slope to where the speed shoes are. And regardless, the rest of the level is the same. Same goes for if you get kind of like launched upwards, you just kind of have to fall down in front of the speed shoes, or onto the speed shoes, and just progress with the level as normal. But going back again, once you go up this slope here, you're going to grab the speed shoes. Make sure you're neutral here. If you hold right into this hole here, you will speed cap. So make sure you're neutral here. Now, once you get past this gap, you want to hold right. And once you get up here, release right, and you're going to want to do a slope jump around here in order to skip this loop. If you want more frames or something of the sort, you can always go check out the write-up or the document that was made by myself, Sandre, and Joey, which has frames and a lot more in-depth stuff for every single level. But the general area is around here. You want to jump and you'll skip this loop. Now, it's very important to emphasize that you do not want to do a roll jump here, because Sonic can get stuck like this, and in very rare cases he can actually clip through this ground here and fall down, which is really bad. That's a massive time loss. So make sure you don't roll, because if you do, let's say you miss the jump, like let's say I jump like here, or here. Well, I'm actually getting really lucky here. Wow, everything here works on this safe state. Let's say I jump like there and I miss the jump or something. You can just go around the loop and you're only losing about a second. So, and to make it more consistent, also make sure to release right when you're about on the top of this like kind of hill. I find this makes it more consistent for me personally. But regardless of what you do here, you want to continue running to the right. It doesn't matter if you hold right here because you have speed shoes on. Up this slope here, you want to do a tap jump. If you just run through, you get hit by the enemy, and rolling here is slow, so a tap jump is best. Now this next section is there are like frames for this and stuff once again on the document. However, I personally prefer to do this by feel, and I find it not too bad once you practice it enough. So once you get past this like sign with this, I don't know what this is, this blue sphere, you want to roll, and you want to jump around where kind of the flowers are and hold right. Now this is dependent firstly on where you roll, however also on the jump partially. If you jump, for example, too late, you can, well, in this case I'm not getting it, but let's say you roll like here and then you jump like here, you can get hit by this. And so because of that, I also like to jump a little earlier, because that lowers the chance of that happening. Also, if you roll too early, that's a bad example, but sometimes if you roll too early, there can be an enemy here, a white enemy. I don't know why I can't get it here, but let me try to get it. Yeah, there it is. This white enemy can sometimes be here, and it completely messes you up because your jump height gets cancelled out when you hit it. So rolling late, I find, makes this enemy pretty much never spawn. So that's why I prefer to do it this way. And once again, the earlier you jump, the better, from what I find. If you jump too early, let's say you jump like here, you can hold right to save yourself. And if you jump too late, well, I guess you can hold left to save yourself, but it loses a bit of time. Now, coming up to this ending, there's a couple ways you can do this. The first way is to just run, and once you get to this second hill, the top of this second hill, you want to jump up here, do a roll jump, and you'll finish the level. Now, one thing you can get here is sometimes Sonic will not go down this slope and you'll just run on at this section. if this happens, you have to react quickly and just jump up to this section, although later on. But sometimes also you'll just not be able to make this jump, which is pretty annoying. So what I like to do to prevent this is I like to do a tap jump here. When on this first hill I do a tap jump, and then I just jump off this third hill up here. This is a little slower because you're performing a jump and you're getting air drag, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just like a couple frames. Regardless though, you do a roll jump at the end and you're still getting pretty much the same time. Now, the last way you can do this, hopefully I can get the correct subpixels. Last way you can do this is you run down, down here, you do a roll jump, and you run to the end of the level. This is actually the fastest way to do this, but sometimes if you're unlucky, well, for one, if you jump late, you can get stuck in there. But sometimes this this kind of slope here can actually stop you and cause you to lose some time, which is why unless you don't care for time loss that much in this level, or you're really trying to optimize your time, I wouldn't recommend going for this jump. But regardless, you have this option if you really want it. So Stardust 1 overall, really subpixely level. You're aiming for a 19 or a 19 if you get the loop skip that was mentioned earlier, or a 20 if you don't get it. But yeah, overall really subpixely. There is also worth mentioning, there is another route that Joey Baby uses. I will not be covering it in this video tutorial. However, Joey has made a video for his route, and it is posted on the Google Doc once again. The write-up for this entire game that includes more in-depth stuff. If you find that his route is better, then I highly recommend using it, because regardless of which route you do, this level has a lot of subpixels and just unfair punishments that are completely out of your control. So, well, with that said, let's move on to the next stage here, which is Stardust 2. So, at the beginning of Stardust 2, you want to charge a pilote and hold right until the edge of this ground here. From here, you have two options. You can do a full jump to land here and then hold right into this booster, or you can do a tap jump. You can do a tap jump, sorry, and perform a roll jump off of this slope here. The latter is a little bit faster, but some people do the jump, the full jump. Some people do the roll jump. It's honestly down to preference, because the time save or time loss between either method isn't very big. So from here, go neutral, and you're waiting for Sonic to go down, cross this gap here, and once you're on this little platform, hold right to speed cap, and then I hold left here a little bit to slow Sonic down in midair. After which I switch back to holding right. Once you land, you want Sonic to jump immediately and hold right as well here. It's really important to hold right here, because if you don't, like let's say you just do a neutral jump, Sonic can go can refuse to go down this slope here and just go straight up here, which is not what we want. So holding right here is pretty important. Also, make sure not to roll early. So once we get on this slope, you're going to want to hold down here the entire way through the level. But if you roll too early, once again, sometimes Sonic will just not go down the slope. I ended up learning this the hard way, since I had this happen in multiple runs, and then once I learned that you just have to hold right down this slope, it all became very clear to me. So yeah, make sure to do that. So jump, roll down here, and I'm just going to be holding down this entire section. You would expect that running would actually be faster there, however, surprisingly rolling is actually significantly faster for this section, and it makes this next jump here much easier. So once you reach this section here, you'll see there's a small slope and then there's this slope. As long as you did the entire section before this correctly, this jump is actually very easy. It doesn't really matter too much where you jump, but I like to jump near the top. And you should land here. Now, for this next jump, I just go neutral. I don't really hold any direction here. And I jump at the edge of this ground to make it onto here. Make sure not to jump too late. If you jump on this sloped surface, you won't make this jump. Your jump height will be like cut and you'll be unable to make that jump. So also make sure not to jump early because you'll also miss the jump. So jump a bit later, not that early. Jump around here, and then once you land, hold right here. Once again, now if you do for some reason fall down here, you can always just go up on the spring and just proceed with the level as normal. But you can jump over here, and once you get close to this enemy, you want to roll and start holding right here. So at this last section, you want to keep holding right to go through this tunnel here. Hold right again, and as soon as Sonic goes in this direction, you want to switch to holding up immediately. Now here, hold up until Sonic starts speeding up again, and then switch to right. If you don't hold up for long enough, let me see if I can get it to work here. Let's see. Sonic can sometimes fall down like there. Obviously, I didn't hold up there for very long, but even if you hold up for what you think is a long time, Sonic can still fall down there for no reason whatsoever. That's why it's important to hold up until Sonic starts moving quickly here again, and only then switch to holding right. Now, you're pretty much at the end of the level. All you have to do is jump over this spring at the end, and you'll finish the level. Ideally, you get a time of 21, a high 21, or a low 22, if the level is done correctly. This level honestly isn't too bad with some practice. It's probably one of the easier levels throughout the run. So practice it as much as you can and try your best to make it consistent. So the last level here is Stardust 3, and in my opinion this is the hardest of the 3 levels. Mainly because it's a bunch of memorization and there's some tricky jumps in the Metal Sonic race. However, with practice this also becomes not too bad. So at the beginning of the level, charge a full peel out, and it's very important that this is a full peel out, so I'm actually going to wait a little longer to make sure. And hold right, and we're looking for a frame window. It's a pretty big window, so the first frame is this frame, where this is the last frame Sonic is facing vertically upwards. And the last frame is this one, where it's the last frame Sonic is facing horizontally to the left. Any frame from that one to this one works, so anything in between works. And on any of these frames you want to roll. And this is done so that you roll through those monitors there. I also highly recommend you do pause for this, because if you don't pause for this, like let's say I roll like that, sometimes well, I didn't get it there, but if you don't roll for it, you can get stuck like that sometimes, if you don't pause for it, sorry. And this is because you might not be pressing down immediately after right. Now, if you do get stuck for whatever reason, you can just hold the spin dash down and then break the last monitor. So it's not too big of a deal, but it is a bit of a time loss. So make sure to do this setup in order to have good subpixels for the monitors. Once you get past the monitors, do a roll jump off that slope and hold right to reach Metal Sonic and Dr. Robotnik. Now, move a little away from the wall so Sonic isn't balancing, and charge a spin dash here. You can do a peel out if you want, however, a spin dash is generally considered better due to a slightly faster burst of speed at the beginning of the fight. And once you charge this, you just want to wait for the door to open pretty much. Once the door opens, you just release your spin dash, and I like to hold right here. You don't have to, but it is faster. And from here, it's just memorization. You're going to have to memorize the placements of these spikes, and it's not something I can really help you with. But I can help you with the general inputs in order to avoid the spikes. For this first spike, I do a full jump, neutral full jump, and this is generally the fastest way to do that jump. Then I hold right and I do a tap jump over this spike, and on this slope I want to do a full jump in order to land on this flat ground. Doing a tap jump here is slower because Sonic can kind of slow down on that slope like that, so it's recommended to do a full jump here in order to not slow down at all. Run down here and do a full jump up this slope. I do it generally, I look at like the corner of that slope there, and I do a full jump up. Now keep running to the right, and once you reach around where this like blue circle is, or this purple circle, I do a tap jump up here, and I do another tap jump to jump over those spikes. From here, I do a full jump up this slope, and I roll down this one, jumping over the spikes and slowing myself down in order to prepare for a pilote. I charge a pilote here, and then I unpause and hold down. Make sure to not hold down out of your unpause because Sonic will go into spin dash and sometimes he can just stop like that. Hold down and then jump at the top of the slope in order to jump over these spikes. Make sure your spin dash is charged or fully charged at least, because if it's too slow then you will hit these spikes and not be able to jump over them. From here, hold right, jump up this, and then jump over these spikes here. I then roll down this slope and do a full jump over those spikes. Now, for this section here, you can either run up the slope, which is slightly slower, but much more consistent, or you can do a jump up this slope, slow down a bit, and then jump over these spikes. I personally recommend the first method, and it's what I also do personally, because getting this jump over the spikes is actually like ridiculously tough, and it's also partially subpixel dependent. Regardless of how you do this though, you want to jump up here. Once you reach this first gap, you want to full jump over it. Then you'll see these spikes, you want to do a tap jump over those, and then do another tap jump to get up here. Here I charge a pilote, and I hold right until these blocks, and then I roll. This next jump is, there's two outcomes, and they're also partially speed dependent. So one thing that can happen is you can get something like this, where Sonic will go pretty high, but will land in front of these three blocks here. If you get this, you want to just jump over these spikes. It's not a big deal. But sometimes you will get a far jump like that, where you go over the blocks, and this is better and faster. This is also why I recommend holding right after this initial pilote until you're at the blocks, because it makes this good jump much more consistent. If you get a jump where you go high like that as well into like the sky, I also like holding right at a certain point once I'm above the point where you can see Sonic. Now once you're up here, I run down here and I do a jump up this slope. Then I roll, I do a slope jump there, I do a jump, I do another jump. And once I reach here, I want to peel out and wait for Metal Sonic to reach here, and then I release my peel out. And this saves a little bit of time. For this ending, move away from the left boundary a little bit, and then tap right in order for the game to let you do a full peel out, because if you're up against the screen, Sonic will not be able to perform a full peel out. Now I pause and I wait for the screen to start shifting. Wow, that was unlucky. But after the screen starts moving, I just unpause and jump to free Amy. Now, one really annoying thing with this level is that even if you play the level perfectly, you might still get a slower time, and it's just all down to Metal Sonic's rubber banding mechanic. I don't know exactly how it works, and I don't know how to manipulate Metal Sonic to get you a better time. So I recommend sometimes actually slowing down in the level in order to get an optimal time. Depending on how fast you're playing through the level, you might want to slow down at certain points in order to let Metal Sonic catch up with you and actually sometimes save time. Ideally, the best time you can get is a 105. However, a 106 is still very good, and a 107 is also a very solid time. That's the general time you want to aim for. So, yeah. Now, once again, this level is all memorization and just knowing what to do in certain situations. So make sure to practice this level a lot because at first it'll be very difficult. This level without practice is incredibly difficult to get down. However, the more you practice, the easier it'll get, and eventually you'll be able to do this level just fine. So that's pretty much it for Stardust Speedway. And once again, if you want more in-depth information about certain stuff, you can check out the document by myself, Sandra, and Joey Baby. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya. And Sandra will be up next with Metallic Madness.